Hi everybody, I wanted to put together a video on constructing an alternative pencil for your work at home. The one thing to consider in the beginning is how your learner accesses the pencil. So this video is for an auditory scanning or an auditory visual scanning pencil. In the classroom, for learners that only are accessing their pencil through auditory, sometimes I prefer to put all the information on one page, and that's because it's easier for me not to be trying to flip through pages while I'm also trying to write down what the learner says and doing the scans. Just cuts down on the number of things that I do with my hands. The one tricky thing about that is we do keep the language when we do that of turn the page, which means that you're actually not going to be turning a page because your alternative pencil doesn't have pages, but it does mean that you're going to be switching from A, B, C, D to E, F, G, H, or going down, or in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. The reason I leave the turn the page words in instead of switching it out to something else is because it keeps it consistent, which makes it easier for like us as a classroom staff. It also is consistent with the language that a lot of auditory scanning pods use, which a lot of our learners use to communicate. So that's why we keep the turn the page language. I'm going to set that aside. So for an auditory visual scanning alternative pencil, I'm going to show you a real quick way to make one that is the same scanning pattern and control choices that we have in the classroom. So you're going to gather your materials. You're going to need paper, markers, a stapler, sticky notes, maybe a pen, some scissors, a clipboard if you have it. That's not necessary, but it does provide a little bit of sturdiness for the back. It makes it a little easier for me to manage it. So the first step is going to be to make the pages. You're going to take 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets of white paper, and you can set the rest aside. And you're going to cut them in half, right down the middle. And those are going to make our turnable flat pages. I didn't quite get the middle. I'm going to fix it because it makes me happy in my heart for the pages to line up. Alright, so I have my 8 pages. I'm actually only going to need 7, but you'll have an extra in case you need to redo one. Looking at my marker colors, for my learners with CVI, I'm going to think about what colors are the easiest for them to see, and that's different depending on the learner. A lot of our learners really like red right now, so I'm going to go with red, and I'm going to pick a second color, orange, for the numbers, because that makes it easier for me. Okay, so when I'm writing in my different letters, I'm going to write on the lower half of the page, so it's easier to see them when I turn the page. I'm going to write my letters in these groups: A, B, C, D. And what you'll notice about these groups is that they all start with a vowel. That's an intentional design. Oops. Well, what we learned there is don't write with permanent markers that bleed through. But the beginning with a vowel is an intentional design on the part of the folks over at the Center for Literacy and Disability Studies. But so that's how they decide where the groupings end. So some of them have only 4 letters, and others have 6. But that is completely intentional, and that's how we do it. If I was doing this for a learner with a visual impairment like CVI, I would probably just toss this page and use my extra page, because these additional like visual distractions could make it difficult to distinguish the letters. The next group has 6 letters. I'm going to be mindful of that when I'm spacing my letters out, so that they still all fit. Whew, just barely made it there. Oh, I almost started on the wrong half of the paper. O, P, Q, R, S, T. Alright, and the last one for the letters. U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, I'm going to switch colors. I'm getting permanent marker on my table. I'm going to switch colors to my orange and do the digits. So we do digits instead of numbers. For this, we do call them numbers, but I just do the digits because you can make any of the numbers if you use the right combination of the digits. Same thing, we're just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to separate them in half so there's 5 per. Oh, I did it again. I'm going to use my extra paper. 6, 7, 8, 9, and instead of 10, we're going to do the digit 0. Okay. I'm going to put my marker back. So, I now have what is going to turn into my my pages to turn, and I need to make the controls. So I make the controls, I'm going to want them to be visible all the time because you use them on all the pages. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw myself a line, doop, so I know where those end and my controls start. And I'm going to separate that into 6 approximately equal sized boxes. If you want to get a ruler out when you're doing this, that is totally up to you. I don't, because it's faster and easier without the ruler. And I'm going to write in my boxes. Turn the page. Add a space. Go to beginning. And this is a note for myself in the parentheses. I'm not going to say this out loud when I'm scanning. Of alphabet or numbers. It's just a cue for myself to remember what to do. Go to numbers. And again, this one is going to have an extra cue, because sometimes I'm going to say go to numbers, but if I'm already on the numbers, I'm going to say go to letters. Sorry, I kicked the camera. Talk about it. And finished. So, I will try to make a more printable set available. but not everybody these days has printers. So I wanted to make sure that we had a tutorial that everybody could follow. So for turn the page, I'm just going to draw a big arrow. Whoop. I'm going to try to keep my drawings kind of simple. They're not going to be the same as the Boardmaker drawings, because the Boardmaker drawings are a little bit more complex than I can do. Uh-oh, I went outside my box. I'm going to do a little speech bubble for talk about it. And the finish sign for Boardmaker normally has the hands on it. I guess I could try to draw the hands. And again, this is not going to look the same as the visuals we have in school, but we'll have to be forgiven because my artistic ability is just not that great. But that's my approximation of the finish sign image that Boardmaker uses. Alright, so I have my controls, and now I'm going to assemble my book. So I'm going to take all of my letters and numbers, I'm going to make sure they're in order. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Alright, I've got all of my pages, they're all in order. I'm going to line them up with the top of this so you can see all the controls, and I'm going to staple the top of that page so that it stays together. Whew! We've almost made it, y'all. As part of my assembly, I'm going to add a quick tab. And you could make this tab out of a sticky note, you could make this tab out of a folded piece of Scotch tape. But I'm just going to add a tab for myself so that if the learner asks to go to numbers, I can flip to that page quicker. And I'm going to write numbers on it. That's the only tab we have in this book, so it's not strictly necessary. And when I inserted that sticky note especially, I turned it so that I actually placed the sticky note on the back of the last letters page with the sticky part facing that page. That way when I pull on the tab, it doesn't pull off. I learned that from experience. Alright, so now you have a alternative pencil that you can use at home. Either that auditory only scanning pencil, which again is good to use for learners that are relying solely on their auditory processing to write. And the auditory visual scanning pencil, which gives them the chance to also look at and process the letters visually. As you can see, we can flip through with relative ease. I'll probably end up folding this down a little bit over time so that it stays where I put it, because that makes it easier for the facilitator. But this is our functional auditory visual scanning pencil. If you have any questions or comments or are interested in viewing a transcription of this video, that's all going to be available on Google Classroom. As soon as the transcription is finished, I'll send it over to the interpreter so that we can get it made available in Spanish. All right, thanks y'all for all the work that you're doing right now. I know this is a stressful time. I want to put it out there. If you don't have the time or energy to do this or anything else that is on the Google Classroom, it's okay. Because right now the most important thing that you can do is to take care of yourself and your family. But in case you do have the time and want to do writing with your child with the alternative pencil, it's a great literacy activity for them to do, and it's something that we work on a lot in the classroom. I hope y'all have a good day and stay healthy.